National Curriculum by Emma Scully. The definition of national curriculum is a standardized set of guidelines for subjects, content, and expected learning standards that are taught in schools across the country. I also provided what education reform is. Education reform aims to improve learning outcomes for all students regardless of background. Some characteristics of national curriculum are standardization of content, so making sure all of the subjects are the same for each school and that the expectations are clear. Equity in education, so regardless of background or socioeconomic status, all students should have access to a high level of education. Consistency and collaboration. Across the board, standards should be the same, and if they aren't, educators, policymakers, and other professionals should work together to achieve that. So national curriculum really just focuses on making sure that every student is receiving the same education and that it's a high level of education, no matter where they come from or who they are. Some pros versus some cons. Some pros are with national curriculum, it provides clear expectations, so teachers know exactly what to teach and students know what they will learn. It promotes equity, so all students will have the opportunity to have access to a high-quality education. Consistency across districts. It fills gaps between different communities and levels the playing field for students. I think this is an important point because that better prepares students for the future because everyone's receiving the same level of education and they are provided the opportunity to build skills in high school or elementary school or whatever to carry on into the future so that they have, the same footing as some other people. Not exactly the same footing, but like as close as people can get it. It's not extremely costly, so improving curriculum is one of the more cost-effective methods of reform in education. It's not super expensive, and it can go a long way depending on what is being improved and what's being changed and stuff. Cons. Limits flexibility for teachers. So if it's a really strict curriculum or there's a lot of things that need to be met, teachers cannot be as creative or flexible as they might like. It doesn't always account for individual needs and kind of generalizes students. So some students with learning disabilities or special needs or just that struggle in the classroom or need extra help or something, and this might kind of be hard for them. Learning is lost, so sometimes strict curriculum can force teachers into a teach-to-test mindset, which is just like memorize instead of actually diving into each subject. But at the same time, if you put more money into it, then maybe they can dive deeper into certain subjects. So I don't know if that's really, I feel like the con can be proven wrong, kind of. Implementation costs. Everything costs money, which everything costs money, obviously. It's not super expensive, but it does cost money. So if certain districts are struggling with money, then it might be hard for them to implement certain curriculums or whatever. And then there's the possibility of no change, which I feel like that's always a possibility. Like some people aren't using resources correctly or whatever, something like that. Thoughts about reform. The way curriculum reform could be viewed is based on things like personal view, assumptions, and bias. With these, a change to curriculum could be viewed as a negative thing. People might fear certain groups won't be able to keep up or that content won't match well with certain demographics. However, we should view it as a positive thing and a chance for growth. Equal access to content and inclusion are both huge positives to this type of reform. Reform will also improve learning and allow teachers to dive deeper into topics that might reflect students' culture. Conclusion. What do you think about the reform now that you have explored it in some detail? I think that is necessary for the growth of education. If there was no reform, there would be no improvement. Sure, there might be disagreements at times about when and what reform should happen, but it is important to keep education updated to the current needs of the world and students. Considering the learning environment, how can you use this information of your selected topic to support teaching and learning? After learning that some students might face barriers with the curriculum, I can adjust learning for my students while still meeting requirements. Creating a classroom where all students feel heard, supported, and challenged is my goal. If I need to be flexible and creative to meet each student's needs, I will. This is my source I used. And thank you. Bye.